Hi everyone, welcome to my crafts and DIYs. So in today's video, it was really about testing out these paint colors for a bigger project that I'll be doing in a couple of weeks. So in order to test them out, I decided to make a Victorian style tea tray. So when the time does come and I'm going to do the microwave cut, I'm going to be using the chalk paint only as a primer. I did want a color that was very similar or close to the color that I was going to be painting it, just in case there ends up being like a scratch in the acrylic or something. It will be less noticeable with a chalk paint underneath that is very similar to that color. So with all that being said, let's get started on this tea tray. For this project, you will need one of Dollar Tree's little trays, some paint color of your choice, a paintbrush. I would suggest sandpaper, but I couldn't find my sandpaper, so I'm going to have to go with a sanding block, and a paper napkin or some cardstock. I'm going to be using the same napkin that I used on my 3 storage containers. And if you haven't seen that video, I will leave a link to that in the description box below. What I'm going to do is paint the whole entire thing in the Waverly chalk paint in Plaster. And then I'm going to use one color on the inside and then one color on the outside. And that way I'll get a pretty good look at the different colors. So I'm going to start first by sanding it, and it's just to get off any of the rough edges or any splinter type things. So here I'm just using a damp paper towel and wiping off any of the dust. As I'm done wiping down the tray, I'm just going to go over it with the Plaster chalk paint. This is all dry, and I do actually like the color of the Plaster. It's like a very light cream color. You can see the difference. Does definitely give it a nice finished look. Alright, so I'm going to do the inside with the antique parchment. I'm going to do the outside with the antique white. I'm going to let each of the paints dry before I do the other color. Now moving on to my next color. And this one is the antique white. I am going to go over this with a second coat of paint, but before I did, I just wanted to show you how each color looked. So out here on the outside is the antique white, and it's more of a beige color. And then on the inside is the antique parchment. I would say that was more like a cream, but I decided that I'm going to use the antique white even on the inside as well. And the antique parchment is the color that I like that I'm going to use for my microwave card. So now I'm just going to let that completely dry, and then I'll add the napkin. So my paint is dry. I am going to trim down the napkin a little bit, so I am going to flip this over, and I'm going to use the base as a guide on how much napkin I need. I definitely want the butterfly and the music bar in. I really like it the long way the best, so I'm going to go with it that way. I think I am going to trim it up just a little bit more. I'm going to crease it where I want it. So what I'm going to do is secure down the corners. I know that if I try to do the whole thing all at once, I will definitely tear it. I'm going to let those dry, and then I'm going to come back in and finish up the rest of it. While it was still wet, I seen some spaces that were out of line. So I just went in there with my paintbrush, sometimes a spatula, slid those places down. Because this is an antique looking tea tray, I don't mind the wrinkles, which just adds to that antique look. So I'm going to let this dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to go over it with another coat of Mod Podge. I will do that off camera, and then I'll show you the end result. I did finish off the bottom with a coat of the Waverly chalk paint and plaster, and then went over it with a heavy coat of antique parchment. And that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.